Traditional meditation tells you to sit still, focus on your breath, and quiet your mind. And if you have ADHD, you've probably tried this, maybe dozens of times, and concluded that meditation just isn't for you. Your mind won't quiet. Your body won't stay still. The breath feels boring within seconds, and the harder you try to focus, the more your mind rebels. But what if the problem isn't you? What if traditional meditation was designed for a neurotypical brain, and there's a completely different approach that actually works for ADHD? Here's the truth most meditation teachers won't tell you. The instruction to sit still and focus on your breath assumes a specific kind of brain. It assumes your nervous system naturally settles when given minimal stimulation. It assumes your attention can sustain itself on a single anchor without external input. It assumes stillness feels calming, not activating. For ADHD brains, none of that is true. Stillness doesn't calm you. It revs you up. Low stimulation doesn't help you focus. It makes your mind search for something, anything, to grab onto. And the breath on its own is not interesting enough to hold your attention for more than 3 seconds. Let me give you the neurological reason this happens. ADHD brains have lower baseline dopamine and norepinephrine. These are the neurochemicals that regulate attention, motivation, and arousal. When you sit down to meditate and remove all external stimulation, your brain experiences that as understimulation. And an understimulated ADHD brain doesn't rest. It hunts. It starts generating thoughts, memories, worries, plans. Anything to create the stimulation it's not getting from the environment. That's not a meditation failure. That's your brain doing exactly what it's wired to do when dopamine drops too low. So when a meditation teacher says, just return to the breath, they're asking you to fight your brain's survival mechanism. You can do it for a few seconds, maybe even a minute if you're really trying. But eventually, your brain wins. It has to, because from its perspective, sitting still with no stimulation feels like a threat. It needs novelty, movement, or complexity to stay regulated, and traditional meditation offers none of that. This is why ADHD meditators often report the same experience. They sit down with good intentions, they focus on the breath for 10 seconds, and then suddenly they're thinking about 17 different things, and they have no idea when the shift happened. It feels like failure. It feels like proof that meditation isn't for them. But it's not failure. It's a neurochemistry. And once you understand that, you can stop trying to force a practice that wasn't designed for your brain, and start using practices that actually were. Here's what works. A ADHD-friendly meditation doesn't ask you to remove stimulation. It gives you just enough stimulation to keep your brain engaged without overwhelming it. And there are 3 main approaches that do this. Movement-based practices, counting or labeling practices, and mantra or sound-based practices. Let me break those down. Movement-based meditation works because it gives your body something to do while your mind settles. Walking meditation is the classic example. You're not sitting still. You're walking slowly, paying attention to each step, the shift of weight, the lift of the foot, the placement, the pressure. Your brain has multiple sensory inputs to track: movement, balance, touch, rhythm. That's enough stimulation to keep it engaged without being distracting. And because the movement is repetitive and patterned, it creates the same kind of mental settling that breath focus is supposed to create for neurotypical brains. But it actually works for ADHD. Counting and labeling practices work because they give your mind a task. Instead of just noticing the breath, you count each exhale. 1, 2, 3, up to 10, then start over. Or you use a noting practice, in, out, or rising, falling. This gives your brain something to do. It's not just passively observing, it's actively tracking and naming. That small amount of cognitive engagement is often exactly what an ADHD brain needs to stay present. It's stimulating enough to prevent mind wandering, but simple enough not to become a distraction itself. Mantra and sound-based practices work because they replace the silence with something your brain can anchor to. Instead of focusing on the breath in total quiet, you repeat a word or phrase, silently or out loud. Peace. Let go. I am here. The repetition creates rhythm. The sound or internal voice gives your auditory processing something to focus on. And because you're generating the sound yourself, you have control over the pacing, which means you can adjust it when your brain needs more or less stimulation. Some ADHD meditators find that chanting or using singing bowls works even better because the auditory complexity is higher. Here's what all three of these have in common. They don't ask your brain to do less. They ask it to do something specific. Traditional meditation says, stop thinking. ADHD-friendly meditation says, think about this one thing in this specific way. And that shift changes everything. You're not fighting your brain. You're working with it. So if you've tried meditation and it felt impossible, you don't need to try harder. You need to try differently. You don't need to force stillness. You need movement. You don't need to empty your mind. You need to give it a task. You don't need silence. You need rhythm, sound, or pattern. The right practice for an ADHD brain isn't the one that looks the most meditative. It's the one that actually keeps you present. This week, try one of these three approaches. Pick one. Walking meditation for 5 minutes, counting breaths to 10, and restarting. Or repeating a single word with each exhale. Just one. 5 minutes. See what happens when you stop trying to meditate like a neurotypical person and start meditating like someone with an ADHD brain. Next video, we're diving into a specific practice that almost no one talks about. Tonglen, the Tibetan Buddhist practice of breathing in suffering and breathing out relief, and why it's one of the most powerful ADHD compatible practices I've found. Subscribe if this resonates, and tell me below. Have you tried traditional meditation and felt like you were failing? You're not broken. The practice just wasn't designed for you. Let me know what you've tried.